So when it comes to circumstances and the magnitude of things, I think this is close to impossible. Financially, getting your money in Russia is very hard, and I did it. Shifting reality is all about mentally going to a desired reality that you want. But first, you need to decide what your desired reality is. For example, wishful thinking and just dreaming about being rich is not enough. That's arbitrary. And that is what a lot of people fall prey to. Like, oh, I want a general life, I want this and that. It doesn't work like that. Because we are not taught the concept of imagination how it should be. We waste our imagination on wishful thinking. And the way to really imagine is how Neville Goddard teaches. And he says, know definitely what you want. That's the first step, knowing definitely what you want. For example, you want to be rich. Just saying I want to be rich is not enough. Decide for a number. $1 million for some people is enough. For some people, just 100K is enough. For some, a billion is not enough. So it's up to you how much you want, but you need to decide it. And once you decide it, then you need to mentally align with that state of being. How does it feel to be a person who has $1 million? Now, I will explain with a lot of example in my personal life how I shifted my reality multiple times. This is one example, being in Russia, which I wanted to be for a long time. So there are many ways to achieve your desired reality mentally. Physically, how you're gonna get there is not your job. That's not what is required of you. What is required of you is to construct your desired reality in your mind. Now, the methods are simple for it. You can use affirmations, a perfectly designed affirmation that invokes the feeling of the wish fulfilled in you. For example, this is a beautiful affirmation that Neville quoted a lot, and I like it too. I use it too, which is the Dr. Millikan affirmation. I am earning a lavish, steady, dependable income consistent with integrity and mutual benefit. Now, what is lavish income? It's up to you. It's your number. You know what is lavish, but your subconscious mind now knows what to do. You are conveying to it that you are earning a lavish, steady, dependable income that is consistent and with integrity and mutual benefit. So it's a wholesome a source of income that is enough for you. And it's now you have a direction to move forward in. Another process is scripting your desired reality. I did that to generally manifest some characteristics in my life that I wanted to. For example, I wanted to go from shy person to a confident person, and I wanted to be more expressive in my life. So I wrote my old self on one side of a paper, and I wrote my new self on the right side of the paper, from going from scarcity mindset to abundance mindset and all that. I scripted my desired attributes in my personality on the right side and called it my new current self. And I wrote down all my undesired or current, the old self. I named it old self because I was no longer identified with it, and I wrote them down. And 90% of what I wanted my old self to be gone has already come true. So scripting is another method. And the third, the most powerful method, which is of course Neville Goddard teaches, is imagination. And I will share with you a bunch of examples from a personal life of how I imagined many things that have already come true in just a matter of a few years. Now, imagination is abused by us. We are imagining all the time, but we imagine so many idle things day to day life. We lose the intensity and the faith in imagination. Like, we are daydreaming about idle things that we just wish for, but we are not using imagination as an action. What is acting in imagination is that you decide what you want. For example, your desired reality is to be in another country. For example, when I wanted to be in Russia, what I did was I constructed a very small scene, just like this, that I am walking on a sidewalk in Russia, which is filled with snow, and I can feel my foot getting sunk into the snow, and I'm walking. Uh, that's it, simple. Walking on a sidewalk, that's all, for 10 seconds. And I would just feel the reality of my feet getting sunk into the snow. And I mean, I don't need to prove it to you. I'm literally standing in there doing exactly the thing that I imagined. And another example would be from my life, that I was living in Malaysia a couple of years ago, and I wanted to be on a beach. I'm not sure if you have heard of the beach of Langkawi in Malaysia. It's like heaven. And I was working there, so I didn't have time. Finances were tight, and I was fed up. I wanted to relax on a beach. So what I did, I just imagined sitting on the seashore and just on the beach and letting the water, touch my feet, and submerging my feet into the water and just sitting there looking at the beautiful sunset. And voila, after just a month later, in 2021, I believe, or 2022, February, I imagined it in December previous month, and in the January, and in February I was on Langkawi. I got the vacation from my work, and I got the finances, because I started working on another online work, remote work, which started taking off, and I got a lot of money from that. And so you see, I knew what I wanted. I constructed a small scene. I acted in that scene. I didn't just daydream about it like you would watch a movie. No, I acted in those scenes. I felt the reality of those scenes, and it came true. Now, the biggest example that I can share with you is currently I'm in Russia, and right now, you might know, Russia is the most financially sanctioned country. It's a nightmare here to get your money in the country. Of course, I am a foreigner here, so my bank is yet not here. I don't have an income source here, so I want to get money outside from my home country to here. But there is no way. And some of you will say, well, what were you expecting being in Russia at this moment? Well, this was my desire much longer than the current circumstances going on in Russia, and their stuff with Ukraine. So I wanted to be here a long time ago. But that aside, I want to prove you that you can manifest the impossible. So let me give you first a story from the naval guard himself. When it comes to circumstances, you can top war. Okay? A lot of you guys are talking about, oh, my circumstances are this way, or it seems impossible. Well, he was in a world war, and it can't get bigger than that when it comes to, the magnitude of a circumstance. It can't get bigger than a world war. And he, as all of us who become awake in this reality, know that war is idiotic. It doesn't make sense. There is no point in war. So he didn't want to take any part in it, and he wanted to get honorably discharged. But you know that you are fighting a war, and you need all the men you can get, absolutely all of them. You can't spare a single dude. And his superior rejected him straightforward. No, you can't go. We need every man we can get. But he refused it. He refused this 3D circumstance, and he imagined. Now, this is an example of shifting reality. He is in another city. War is in front of him. He is in the midst of war, about to go in war. But he shifts his reality mentally. He knows what he wants. He wants to be in his home. So what he did, he imagined sleeping in his New York apartment. Simple. He knew his end, and he went there, and every night he would go to sleep, he would imagine sleeping in his own bed, in his own flat. Simple. This is the most prime example of shifting reality, and kind of impossible one, because in war they wanted every man, they needed every man they could have, but his superior then discharged him honorably. Now it can't get bigger than that. So if you think your circumstances are big, they can be changed. So now my example, I'm in Russia, the most sanctioned country in the world right now. There's no way to get money through the banking channels, very hard, close to impossible. And I did everything I could to kind of try every single way I could to get my money here, and none of them worked. Like, wow, what did you expect, right? None of them worked. But I refused the reality of these so-called circumstances. To me, yes, there is an external reality going on, but in my reality, Russia is within me. As I've made previous videos, that everything is within me. So I refuse I accept what is out there, but to me, it doesn't matter. I got my money. So what I did, I just imagined the amount of money I wanted in my wife's bank account, and I just saw it in the app mentally that it's there, and that's it. That's it. I dropped it. And of course, as Neville says, in the world of Caesar, do the things of Caesar. Like, you can't just sit in your home and do nothing, right? You live your day-to-day life, you do the processes. As Neville submitted the application to get honorably discharged, that's the world of the Caesar, and that's the process you need to do in Caesar. If I want to be in Russia, I need to do the process of Caesar, which is apply for a visa. So I did that. So I did the world 3D action of trying to find a way to get money in Russia, and most of them failed. But I refused the idea of rejection from the outside world. And so all of a sudden, of course, it always comes from an unexpected way. My mother-in-law somehow found a process, a service, who have bank in another country where you can put money there and they can send you within Russia. So it's kind of they got money in another country where I can easily send, and they can send me from within Russia. And that's how I got my money, and it was effortless. I mean, after that, once you found out, it was just easy. So when it comes to circumstances and the magnitude of things, I think this is close to impossible right now here. Financially, getting your money in Russia is very hard, and I did it. So this is another example of shifting reality. I didn't care about the reality of what is. I had a desired reality in my mind, and I shifted there mentally. I saw the money in my imagination, and I got it. And there are countless examples I've done like this, where I have shifted mentally and the 3D comes afterwards. Of course, I'm in Russia. I've made a bunch of videos before showing you how I shifted from another country to here. Now you gotta understand, most of my audience is European and American, and you guys are kind of privileged in a way where you can just decide to go into a country and you can go there. There are no visa troubles for you. But from where I come from, Pakistan, it's a big problem. It's a big thing. But I don't identify with that identity that, oh, I'm from there, so visas will be hard for me. But it's a reality I don't accept, but it is for my background. I'm just trying to explain. So for me, visas and going to places to travel is a big thing. It's a big undertaking. It's not as easy as Europeans or Western would feel. So maybe you can't relate to it, but that's why I keep explaining that this visa for Russia, or even for I wanted to go to Dubai to travel, wasn't easy as it would be for others. But as you can see, I shifted into my desired reality once again. I did not take into account this so-called limitation of my background. I sort of rejected it, as like I had a desired reality in my mind, and I persisted with that, and it came into being. So shifting reality is number one. Know definitely what you want. And second, somehow move from your existing reality to your desired reality mentally. The focus is on mentally. You do what you want to do in 3D world. You want to, you know, you want to do anything, you do it. I will not discourage action, but if you are wavering mentally and you are desperate, you are doing action from desperation, that your imagination, you don't have faith in imagination, then this action will fail. It has failed. I am speaking from experience, so it's not gonna end up good for you, most likely. But if you have faith in your imagination, then do the processes of Caesar, because this is the world of Caesar, as Neville Goddard says. And your mind is the world of God, and the world of Caesar, the 3D world, is the world of Caesar. Caesar is just Caesar had authority in the world in the time of Jesus. In this 3D world of authority, somebody has authority over it. In Russia, there is a government. In another country, they have processes. You do the processes. But if you have faith in imagination, uh, you will not even have to do anything. But if you want to do something, do it. But mentally shifting is more important. So you decide what you want what you want, your desired reality. You paint a picture, and then you move there mentally. You live there. An assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. Law of assumption, Neville Goddard's teaching. And the processes are simple. You affirm, you make an affirmation, and you make that affirmation resonate with you. You can find the most perfect words to describe your end, and you do that, and you affirm, and you imagine. Imagination is easy, as Neville Goddard teaches. You relax, you sit down, and you get into alpha brain state, which is breathe in, breathe out, and your mind gets into a sleepy, drowsy state where you can imagine anything. Short scene, very short scene. You don't need to make an elaborate scene, just a short scene of you sitting on a beach and getting your feet get soaked into the seawater. That's all. It's as simple as that. And you imagine it again and again until it feels real, and you fall asleep, and it will become a reality. Another process is scripting. You can write it down, your desired reality, paint a perfect picture, a small page where you describe the entire scene of your desired reality, and feel yourself in that desired reality and identify with it. And so any process you choose doesn't matter. But shifting reality is all about mental. It is a mental process. And the mental process starts from a desire. You get a desire, you mentally shift into that desire with any process, and you stay there. Persist. Just like I told you that I applied every process to get my money here, and none of them worked. But I still persisted, and eventually something that I didn't even thought of worked. And I have so many examples of such things, and maybe I will make other videos. This is already pretty long. But anyways, shifting reality is all about a mental process and some persistence and faith in your inner man, and it will be done for you. I'm speaking from experience. Here's your proof. Anyway, until next time, bye bye.